Okay, I'd be the first person to admit that I don't know a huge amount about biology, but that was kind of the point with buying a microscope, because I wanted it to be like with the first people that looked through a microscope, to find things and go, wow, what is that? Except now I've got the advantage of being able to just Google it and find out. And it really has been quite eye-opening. For example, the other day with Rochelle in her garden, there was a bowl that had been collecting water all winter, and it was all green and disgusting looking, and she starts tipping it out. And while she's doing that, I'm thinking about why it's looking disgusting, and all of a sudden I find myself shouting, "No, don't, stop, stop, stop!" And she looks at me like I'm completely nuts. And then, you know, I managed to explain, and she's just sort of smiles and shakes her head and helps me find a jar. And here it is. And you can see how gross that looks. And of course it is full of microbes. And the first thing I see when I put it under the microscope is a whole sea of little green dots, which must be algae, right? And right in the middle of it, there's this creature that looks a bit like a leech, just kind of the way it moves. And then it does this thing that makes me think, what did I just see? Its head splits wide open, and it creates this vortex around it that just sucks everything around it into its mouth. And you know, and at first I'm thinking, and then I'm thinking, and then I'm thinking I should probably... So after Googling, I found a baby Demogorgon in my pond water, I found out that these things are actually called a Deloid rotifer, and they're actually quite interesting. So unlike the single-celled paramecium you can see swimming around in the background, this is a multicellular life form. In fact, members of the one species will usually have exactly the same number of cells, like in the order of about 1,000 or so. And so the head, which is also called the corona, is covered with these tiny hairs, right, called cilia, that it spins really, really quickly to create currents that directs food to its mouth. It's also how it swims when it lets go with its foot. And if you look closely, you can even see it chewing with tiny little calcified teeth called a mastax. And because they're hard, these are the only parts of the creature that can actually be fossilized. They even have a tiny little brain and a simple nervous system, which is sort of situated just behind the corona. So the food has to travel through the brain to get to the teeth. They even have eyes, which I haven't been able to really make out, but you know, maybe that's them. And then I also found this like wormy little thing, and it's kind of cute. It's like popping in and out and creating a little house with its little eyes and stumpy legs. I have no idea what it is yet, but maybe I'll find out when my book finally arrives. And then I'm finished filming, and it's time to pack up, right? And I've got these creatures on a slide, and I'm trying to think what I should do with them, because it's hard to return it to the sample. I don't have a pond nearby I can let them go in. I don't know if they'll survive if I wash them down the sink. And then I'm thinking, oh my God, I have turned into Dustin.
You're pretty cute, you know that? I'm glad I found you.
But I found out that these creatures actually survive being dried out for up to 9 years. So I might actually experiment with that later on. But it is this weird change in perspective to, because it's magnified, you suddenly feel responsible. It's very strange. And to carry on the Stranger Things analogy, having a microscope is a little bit like having a portal into the upside down, because it enables you to see this world that is ever present and coexists with us. It's like it's everywhere, it's all around you, except you're blissfully unaware of it. And I'll get more into that in a later video, but I hope you enjoyed this one, and I'll see you then.